Hello and welcome to another episode of A Day in the Future. Today we're going to talk about the future of sales with none other than Mihai Guran, one of the leading salespersons in Romania that has been an instrumental key player in multiple enterprises that have set foot here and have expanded their sales efforts during the last 30 years, from IBM, Bitdefender, HP, and so on. We're going to discuss about the future of sales and what his startup, SalesOMO, is able to do in order to move the needle in the right direction. And we're going to learn a bit about what are the things that make a salesperson really excel and what human-to-human connection is going to look like in the future. Thank you for joining us today, and let's dive in. Hi, Mihai. Welcome to today's episode. Today we're going to talk about the future of sales, and I believe there's no better person in Romania to talk about that than you. So thank you very much for taking the time to do this. Let's start with the basic question. What made you go into sales in the beginning? Why was that a decision that you took, and what you believe is the most interesting aspects of sales?
Thank you, Catalin. First of all, thank you for inviting me. Yeah, I really appreciate and your nice words. Good introduction. What made me join the sales back exactly almost 30 years ago? Yeah, 30 years and 1 month actually. What triggered me to sales? It's like in strategy. Yeah, the most important thing in strategy is when you decide what you don't want to do. Yeah. So I defined, first of all, in a dialogue with my first employer, the owner of the company at that time called Romsis. And I had an open door to an interview to him. He was my neighbor. So I went up to stairs. I really liked the image of the company. People were wearing white shirts and ties, which at that time in 94, it wasn't that, usual. And he asked me, okay, welcome, Mihai, you're my neighbor, I'll hire you, but what do you want to do? I have some openings in software department because I heard you finished electronics and you are good at programming. I say, well, I don't want to do programming. Then he said, okay, maybe some hardware maintenance. I have some teams doing that. At that time, it was, I said, well, I have 2 left hands. I'm not good at that. I don't want to do that. Oh, so what do you really want to do then? And then the answer was at the intersection of, he uncovered that I'm more an extrovert person. Yeah, I stated to him that I would like to show my country, which is nice. I always like my country. And as an engineer, you cannot do a tourism guide. Maybe that was in my head at the time, a child at almost 24. Or maybe, the other dimension was that I wanted to be independent. And at that time in 1994, programmers were paid less than people in sales. And in sales, you could do some extra money. And I think that was also a driver. Yeah, I wanted to be independent somehow and earn more money than, let's say, my friends who were in programming already at that time. So
yeah,
this is how I went there.
It's a different kind of incentive that that seller roles can give you. So during the years, because you've led some of the biggest sales departments in some very well-known companies in Romania, such as Bitdefender, not to mention others. Like, what have you seen? What have you seen in terms of similarities and differences that are worth mentioning in how a sales team operate and what makes them perform or not during the years, or what has stayed with you now after 30 years of experience in this field?
Well, there are many things which change, especially driven by technology. But at the end of the day, if you look at the problem from or at the job, yeah, from a job to be done framework. The sales job, it's here for centuries and will still be here for centuries. Yeah, it's you go to unknown territories, you meet new people, you know, you need to decide very fast, fly or fight. In the past, those days, it's more like trust or not, or they have to decide. You have to qualify them. Yeah, so you take the fight or you move over, and this is important. And then it's basically that same thing as for centuries. Yeah, what can you do for them? What's in it for them? Yeah,
So
as my first owner was always telling me, Mihai, you need to answer always this thing. What's in it for me? And if you have the answer to that, you can open the doors. You can develop a relationship. You can close deals. But again, it's not so much about selling. It's about what can you do for the other guy.
yeah, I believe in theory
It's
it can
that
sound simple.
that basic.
Yeah. In theory, I believe it can sound simple, but in practice, I think that that's where it makes the difference between great salesman and less great salesman, to say so. What do you believe are the characteristics of great salesman, or what or salespersons, to not use the necessarily that gender role, but salesperson, because there are some characteristics, and what have you found during the years that make them excel?
Well, as you know, as I already witnessed, it's very important that you have some drive. Yeah, you some people in the literacy would say salespeople need to be hungry. Yeah, and this is maybe true at the beginning of the career. Yeah, and it's true for anybody. Yeah, and when you need. You are in a certain economic context, and you need to make sure you can uh, fulfill your basic needs. Yeah, that's you need to have this drive for money in case of sales. But this is if you look at the Maslow pyramid hierarchy of needs or pyramid, yeah, that's a very these are the very basic needs: security, food. Yeah, once you go up the ladder, you uncover other things, and after 25, 30 years of doing sales, I can say like that. Yeah, it's okay, this hunger, it's one thing, but the other thing, it's also are you a person who really is curious? Are you a person who cares about you? Are you an empathic person? Can you do this thing where when you uncover what are the needs of your counterpart? Are you a person who it's up enough on the ladder that you can probably care about the other person and how you can help him or her in a genuine way? Yeah, because really not everybody likes the people who are, you know,
Wall Street.
money takers.
Yeah.
And then this is what many salespeople are perceived. Yeah, and then of course there are other things which can in between, but obviously being in technical sales all the time, it's also important to have the other part, which is to be able to talk about your products, your solutions, and to match what you offer to what the customer needs, because it's not always one to one, and for sure it's never a unique solution. Yeah, and especially in the technical sales and in the long term, it's also important the relationship and how well can you uncover the needs of your customers and yeah, how can you fulfill them with the constraints that you have, certain products, certain services, certain price frameworks.
And
And that's an art at the end of the day.
it combines, I believe, the art of communication very well with the art of psychology. So I believe it's hard. From my experience, it's very hard in my limited role as in doing sales. So
At some point in my early career, one of my customers asked me, it was a large table with a lot of important persons, and I was one of the younger people, youngest people in the room. And then he asked me, "Oh, well, Mr. Guran, have you done diplomacy?" Diplomacy is also an art, I believe.
Yes, yes, it's one of the finest arts in modern day society, I would say. Uh,
Yeah.
so there are certain points in the last 30 years in which technology boosted, I believe, the way we can do sales. Now, if you can go through some of them that really made you look at technology and say, oh my God, now I can do, if not 10x better or 10x more than I could do before, I can certainly do a lot more. What were some points in the past years that you saw that happening?
You could see, obviously, back in 90s when the internet had the I I'm old enough to witness the blue screen internets, the ones where you you have a terminal server and a scarcity of information and some servers here and there. Then the World Wide Web uh, developed. And then information was more ubiquitous, more available. Yeah, you really needed to look for it. Yeah, and people could, um, especially in countries like Romania, where a lot of people had a lot of time at that time. Yeah, it was not so much. Um, we are much busy those days than we were in that time. People had time, and they were really having time to read. And even as today, some customers are more informed than you are. Yeah, but again, technology made it easier with World Wide Web and then Google to find information, and then everything moved from this let's say job where you carried a lot of documentation and some consultants, some resources into a deal which was a multi-million-dollar deal which only the big guys could afford, and then you are meeting lots of people to a much more accelerated and democratized environment where it's not that hard to do an application compared to how it was 30 years ago. And yeah, there are myriads of applications out there. And yes, it's much easier also to get information and to decide what can you do if you have a certain pain. However, still there are people who are not aware about their pains, and there are still people who I believe can have a lot of benefits in meeting people in sales, which are not only with this word sales on their business card. There are usually consultants, owners, CEOs, founders, a lot of these guys which can help you identify some of the challenges or define them and find solutions, and they can help you have a better life at the end of the day for your business or for your person. Um,
So,
so this didn't change. It changed how people are now informed. They are probably much better, and it's much easier to inform. And many times you need to, how to say, to attune yourself to what your customer already knows about
how
what he wants to.
how are you able to do that to gather information regarding a potential lead or a client in the past before, like during the blue screen period? How are you able to gather information so that you can actually speak to the needs, to the tailored needs of each individual? How are you able to do that, or what did it look like? Because I, for one, I don't know at all.
Well, there is always some firmographics which were available. In some of the large companies that I work for, people were getting things like credit checks, reports from reputable companies, usually Americans. They were costing quite a lot. In general, you would not enter a business without checking your partners. And then, as a salesperson, you would not go and talk to people who were not really into let's say your ideal customer profile. Yeah, at least the good salespeople won't give up that. But then yeah, let's say um, nothing can replace a good conversation,
Yeah, of course.
and nothing can replace some good preparation for a meeting. Yeah, because sometimes you can feel, you can sense when you read a company annual report, for example, you can sense some of the challenges that company has. Let's not say pains. Maybe they are not pains, but there are things that are coming, especially if you do some extra effort and you read about the industry challenges and you put it in a wider context. Or let me give an example. One of my customers in the 90s were the railways, and the railways were looking outside and they were looking at the way the Brits made a reform of their railways. And yeah, one of the things which we could do at that time was to bring some consultants, some expert in railways, people which were immediately gaining respect at the table because they were knowing railways inside out. And you know, talking with some people was something which added extremely high value to the customer, and that could, you know, uplift yourself, your organization, and yourself as a person. Yeah, because you help them gain the knowledge which was not easy to get from anywhere in the open space, because what's in our brains, it's in our brains, and sometimes it's hard to put it online. Yeah. And that's really difficult even today. Yeah? So get yourself prepared, get yourself knowledgeable, if you can, about the industry, about the specific niche where your customer
Mhm.
plays, and try to see where he could go with a little bit of help from you.
Yeah, I think if you're able to help them uncover what they don't know, that's when you hit a really good spot within their industry. Um, so, you know, what I think it was way harder back then. If I am to compare it to today, when you have LinkedIn and you can see, because in the end, B2B especially is selling people to people. So it's a person selling to another person. So you need to understand the person that you're selling to. Yeah, so in that regard, right now I can go on LinkedIn and I can find the previous experience of that person. I can see what they like, what they don't like. I can see their interests. I can really know them before I get to know them. How did you do that before? Like, how were you able to do that before? Was that possible or
Was
what?
that possible? Before, no, it was taking more time, and for example, when you had this structure of multinationals with headquarters and people on the ground, a big boss was coming into a meeting and they were asking for a brief. And it's normal, it's human. You land from a plane. It happened to me after that in the yeah no longer than 6 years ago in my last corporate job. I had a team. I had teams all over the place. You land, you go with a sales guy, it's very basic stuff to meet a customer. You are coming from the clouds, you don't know anything, but the people on the ground know because, and it's their job to find out. Yeah, and you get a report. Yeah, these are their challenges, and these are the persons we meet. Yeah, and the report can go like from age, education, things you can find on LinkedIn, but it can go even deeper. This guy likes to play golf or is a soccer fan. This guy has 3 kids. This guy has a no go, no talk area. Yeah, it's important to also to avoid some things which yeah, don't mess with politics about city development with this mayor because he will get very yeah, stay technical.
Understood.
For example, yeah, I visited city halls in several cities in Europe. Yeah, this kind of things which the team gets only from human to human conversation. And the problem today is it's a little bit different because today you have gazillions of data, you know, and there is too much information. Yeah, Mihai or Catalina has been in so many podcasts. What do? You watch all of them, and you find that at minute 5.35 seconds, Mihai confesses something about his motivation when he was a young salesman. It's very hard to do that.
It takes a lot of time, a huge amount of time of research.
Yeah. So today you can have automation. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I founded SalesOMO.
So just
Because you can use technology to replace some of these old methodologies and accelerate a little bit some of the things.
so
And
those
on the other hand, it's also the other way around, where customers now expect you, when you come through their door
already
and talk
know.
to them, to
Yes.
know something. Yeah, you cannot possibly go to a meeting and ask Google type of questions like, "Hello, sir, Mr. Catalin, what's your revenue and what's your employee count and have you made a profit last year?"
Yeah,
Come on.
depends on where you're going. If you're going to the US, you can you won't find out about the revenue part if they're a private company. At least
I
from my
would say it
experience.
depends.
Yeah, it
It
depends.
depends.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so that role specifically, the people that were on the ground and would find out information about people that you were selling to, how has that role changed from then up until a few years ago, before automation and AI really started to generate traction and become what it is today? Uh, like how has that role changed from not having tools such as LinkedIn or Google to having them now? You know, what I'm asking is, have those tools made them more competitive, or have they evolved the role or reduced the headcount, or what was the impact when technology appeared for that particular role?
I don't have a straightforward answer,
Of course.
but I would say um, what I see as in many other areas. Yeah, I see more junior people who are in some of these roles, and sometimes there is another problem that there is in sales. Um, there aren't as many good managers as you would like to get sometime. Yeah. And those juniors, like the owner of my first company, and then the trainers and the managers in the second job, who really molded me, yeah, taught me, helped me learn and become a good salesperson. Technology can help you do that. And some of these people landing from the planes, sometimes they do the groundwork on themselves with technology and using even SalesOMO, yeah. Or some of our customers and prospects are CEOs, yeah, and they say, okay, I really like what I get here, and I because when it will save me 10, 15 minutes, which are sometimes I don't have this kind of time, and I don't like to go to meetings unprepared. Sometimes I go to meetings on my own. I don't have someone in the team with me, especially sensitive meetings, and no time for preparation. So yeah, you can use technology to accelerate and prepare better, even if you are a person high rank in the company. On the other hand, if you are a, a guy more at the beginning of the career, you can also um, use something like SalesOMO to help you prepare the meeting for your boss. Prepare your boss for the meeting, and SalesOMO will somehow guide you, knowing where you are in the sales cycle and what you've discussed before, and some of these things will be able to guide you to what to look and what to present.
This is my question now. Like, if we are to look at, okay, LinkedIn, Google, those are some research areas or other similar, like different platforms, professional network platforms, where you can find out useful information about your leads. And then you have HubSpot, you have Salesforce, and you have other sales tools, CRMs that you use in order to be more effective at your work as a salesperson. Now, when it comes to sales now, where's the paradigm shift? Where are you changing things in a new way that wasn't possible before? Or what's, yeah, if you can go into that.
Well, let me start with a bit of philosophy first.
Okay.
Then you see, we touch a little bit at the beginning. Yeah, that's sales. It's an art. Yeah, and unfortunately, versus marketing, for example, where it's pretty much in many cases a science. It's about numbers, reports. You know, okay, you start building up some numbers in sales. However, yeah, in sales, you can look at the data coming, as you said, from internal sources, your email, your CRM, your SharePoint, your pricing software, your financial system, because you can get a report, or yeah, from external sources, like your customer website, like industry analysis, like yeah, and then you can also add a lot of other things like profiles, LinkedIn, maybe other profiles, if your customer shares some stuff there, and you can identify and do some research. So yeah, it's a lot, and you can it's a wide range. And also you cannot go to the other extreme where you go, hey Catalina, I've heard you have 3 kids and they are in the kindergarten across your road, and yeah, I know you have another half an hour before getting them. Yeah, that's really embarrassing. Or yeah, you need this didn't change. So yeah, you need to find the right balance.
Yes, yes,
And
yes. And attune yourself.
yeah, it's easier somehow now. On the other hand, it's much difficult, because with so much data, yeah, it's still an art, but you really need to master some other things like data science. And yeah, and if you can, come and get a supplier to help you. But the answer is most of the time is not in your CRM. Yeah, if you look at the data, where is the data? Yeah, the top rank managers, some of them would consider that it's in CRM. No, 99% of the information is not on the CRM, because people hate it. And this is one thing which changed a lot. At the beginning, I thought CRMs were good and they were helping me. And then in the meantime, I've seen some CRMs implemented really, really the wrong way, only as survival, as a surveillance technology, you
Mm.
know. And this is something people hate, people in sales. And they don't started not to use them. Adoption rates go down. They play it minimal. And if they want to trick you, they will trick you. Yeah, it's like in programming, if you want. Yeah, how can you say how long a task will
Yeah.
end? Is it a good day for the programmer or a bad day? Is it something he has been in touch with before or not? It's the same in sales. Not very predictable many times. Yeah, experience can give you an idea.
In my perspective, there are even the variables are even more, like variables, because you have external third parties that can significantly influence what happens, and you have zero
Yeah.
control over that. Like,
Like in larger accounts, you start discussing with a group of people, okay, with one or two, and then the group extends. It's usually a committee. But then if the deal takes a year and a half, some people come and go in the companies, and there are changes, and CEOs are sacked.
yeah, yeah. Now, this is something that you cannot control in a role as a salesperson. So, um, right now, where are you at with sales Omno? What what stage are you at? What are you seeing in the market?
Well, let me start with what I see in the market. What I see in the market is a huge demand, with a huge pain of the people who are in sales. Many of them are using several tools, micro tools for micro jobs. Yeah, some of them are quite good, but then you need to look into the others and other tools in order to give you the whole picture. Yeah, I won't give you example. I think you know what I mean. Yeah, you start you sales job is a very 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 big job, complex job, and there are so many micro jobs or even tasks that there are tools which help you do that. but overall, to keep the direction there, and to have the vision. People are under a lot of stress, and this is one area where we try to help them to reduce their friction and the fatigue they develop using so many tools and dealing with so much information. Yeah, and I see a good welcoming of the solution in the test phase. Yes, we have a functional MVP. I think this is how is it called. We have three paying customers. Some of them have a very well-defined need, which in one case we never, in two cases we never saw before.
Mm.
We uncovered in these interactions. And then we are ready. We are getting ready every week, every sprint, to go and get more. Yeah. Right now we are not there where we do experiments. Yeah. Right now we are experimenting with. We are doubling. Yeah. We are experimenting with a few other customers, some hypotheses, and yeah, we don't do things at scale for the moment.
Of course,
Um,
it's part of this. And what have you seen until now that has surprised them positively in terms of how they use SalesOMO? What made them, like the aha moment, the magic moment in which they saw the added value that it brings?
Sometimes it's time. We save them time, and they say, "Wow, it only took me a couple of hours to do all this work, and that was like a 2 days work." Yeah. Sometimes it's and it's everything murangura, as we say in Romania. It's as easy as ABC. Yeah, because if you have one person and you have 1 minute, that's it. It's SalesOMO. You don't have time to click LinkedIn and several other sites and get everything which we provide Murangura. Yeah. So yeah, it's wow, time is so fast. Then some of them would say, wow, the first profile you do, the first brief you get on yourself. Yeah. And sometimes they are, he wrote, SalesOMO wrote this about me. Yeah.
Well, it means
And then there are some other things there, and some other things which we are still working on, because customers, and as you know, you have to not only bring in the platform but keep them there.
yes,
And
yes.
we have integrations with CRMs, because some people are still used to to CRMs, and the managers wants to see some of this information and some other things, yeah, which we are working on. Like for example, the latest thing we do is. We uncovered from the market that everybody in sales, every sales operations is looking for something specific. Yeah. So technology today will allow you maybe to develop something like an AI agent who will deliver that specific to the customer. Okay. If you have a modular product where you can plug in a customized AI agent develops specially for that customer, that would really make him say, wow. And it's not anymore a SalesOMO product, it's my SalesOMO. That's is where we aspire to go, yeah, to really do this excellence in
So I have a question
customer
that came
experience.
up while you. So, um, in the podcast we talk about the day in the future, and we, yeah, like think about what will be, what may come in a particular field. Now, with Sales OMO, it's being built right now. Now, if you were to look at Mihai in 94, 95, 96, and having access to this technology, uh, what would have changed, or how would you describe the having this tool at your hands at that point in time? Like, what would it brought to you at that point? Because when we were discussing today and tomorrow, it's the similar thing, but without the experience of knowing what tomorrow is.
Well, me, it would have helped me avoid some mistakes, like talking many months with some customers where I should have not do. And this is called qualification. and sometimes it's really hard for a person in sales who doesn't have that many deals to say no.
Hmm.
Yeah, and you drag some of these deals for years, many months and years. Yeah, and then that was one thing. The other thing is, yeah, in the 90s there were a lot of consultants that you have to bring in, and a lot of very very expensive and specialized expertise, which now somehow at least you have this impression that you can get via OpenAI and similar technologies. But obviously, it's a little bit closer to uh, can give you at least the illusion that you you know better some stuff. Sometimes it can be a fatal mistake.
I know.
Sometimes you know what I mean. But yeah, again, it's some things are the same. The customers still know their businesses much better than whatever you do.
But it saves time, especially like qualification, first and foremost. Knowing where you need to put your focus and energy and saving huge amount of times of going
Yeah,
in the wrong direction. And then,
yeah.
yeah,
And then maybe it's also about people, because back in the 90s, you'd have really to pay a lot of money to socialize. People were having more time. Now it's a little bit more easy to sense somehow about the people. Um, is this guy more like fact-oriented guy who needs more precise and things like P&L and yeah, or is this lady more into the relationship and you need to invest some time? Don't be upfront brutal with him or her about uh, problems, pains, and yeah. Sometimes some of these things you can uncover a little bit more easy, and they can also, you know, you can also discover some of the things which they did in their research by either asking questions or deploying some technology. You can see if they downloaded something, if they looked at your web page. Sometimes some people have this kind of technologies, and sometimes it helps a lot to really position you in the sales cycle correctly, yeah? Because you don't want to do a lot of market education unless you have to.
I agree. Because that's the months and years that can go up to a point in which they're educated and they understand that it's not the solution for them. Maybe that can happen.
You see a lot of people do this. There are a lot of reputable companies out there, and everybody has its own side of the truth. And sometimes you have to think again, going back to the beginnings. Think about that customer. Yeah, he heard something from Catalin. Is a very reputable guy working on a reputable company, and then Mihai comes in from another reputable company, another, and everybody is giving his half of the truth. Yeah, they don't apparently contradict each other, but somehow they don't fit into the picture. And you start thinking, and then maybe there are five guys like that. Yeah, then really it's difficult for you in this world with myriad of solutions and technologies. It's difficult for you to choose. So what will you choose? Well,
Action for me.
if you trust Catalin, you'll get something from him. If you trust Mihai, you'll get something from him. It's human to human at the end of the day.
Human connection, yeah. In the end, when it's that tie, it just goes to human connection. Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Or sometimes it's also the other thing where you really go to the cheapest, and maybe this is another phenomenon. You sometimes you it's called buyer's regret.
Hmm.
You After a few months into the solution, you start to regret the decision, and then maybe it's getting more expensive to change it again.
Part of the education.
But I'm sure you've seen customers like that who told
Yeah.
you, "Oh, 5 years ago, this guy who left the company, they put this solution in." And
It's part of, like you either educate yourself through the mistakes of others or the more expensive way of educating yourself through your own mistakes. But I think you get much more educated if you do that, but it's more expensive. Yeah, if you can do it on your own before, better. So you mentioned ABC, like the always be closing.
As easy as ABC.
Yeah, I was thinking about always be closing.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I know that there's been a shift, especially with the human to human connection that needs more emphasis nowadays. And I remember that Daniel Pink, he moved from the previous ABC to the newly updated ABC that's more like accustomed to how you connect with each individual and how you're more empathetic and so. Uh, has that in any way impacted also the technology of today from the technology that we had 20 years ago in any shape or form?
well, I would say if you look at the Daniel Pink and his paradigm and what he wanted to say with this is the following. Yeah, the world has changed from a world where the information was on the seller side. And you remember I told you at the beginning, we were, having all this information, and then we were enlightening the customers with some brochures, with some prospects, with some consultants, with some architects, and we were teaching them how to build, especially the complex solutions. Yeah, we don't speak about buying a monitor. Yeah, but then now it's more like, and Daniel Pink is also saying that it's more like attune yourself. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, try to see where is your customer in this journey, and try to look at can you uncover this? Can you as a salesperson adapt there? And personally, it's a world when the customer has access also to this gazillions of data and information, and sometimes if he has more time than you, maybe he knows three other solutions better than you. Yeah, and it's not anymore always be closing, push. And what I say to the people I work with, it's always in sales, be ready to walk away. It's a bit counterintuitive,
Hmm,
and it's against all this practice in some of these really pushing companies with great sales motions and cadence and so on, because you really can annoy customers, and sometimes you can degrade very fast the relationship if you are pushing, and those days this is not working anymore.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think that empowers you to do sales even more effectively if you are able to walk away. That gives you a certain positioning in which you are really there to make their lives easier and not anything else.
Yeah, yeah. So it's in his case, ABC comes from attunement, buoyancy, so be jovial, be there, and clarity. Yeah, that's another thing which somehow I attach. If you are especially in more complex, selling more complex things, which should adapt, and yeah, try to stay clear and try to keep up things simple, and clarify things for your customers, because sometimes he's on the other side, as I described. He has too much
But yeah, so many
and he
information,
cannot cope.
but it needs to be understood. And if you're the one giving that clarity to understand how to best solve the problem, then yeah, you're you're a trusted person. Um, okay, so if we were to look right now, in the future, okay, like let's say 10, 20, 30 years from now, with everything that's happening with robots, with AI, with quantum computing, I know how that will affect sales, but it might. How do you say a day in the future of sales? How would how would human beings sell to other human beings? Or how do you see it changing? If you see any big shifts that might take place in the coming years?
Well, I can see two things here. So first of all, uh, people will have their own agents. I really feel that. Either they are robots or AI entities or pieces of software or maybe physical robots, I don't know. But obviously, all these automations and artificial intelligence can really help people get rid of some of the things which we don't like to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's the same thing with the customers because they also maybe don't always like to do their research, and yeah, they will research you if you are going to their office. Yeah, maybe they will say, "Oh, Mr. Catalin, thank you very much, but it's better to talk to Mihai or the other way around." Yeah, we've made some research, we've made our own research, and we don't talk to a salesperson like you. Yeah?
Exactly. Exactly.
And that's one aspect. But yeah, on the other hand, probably especially in the low end of the spectrum, because selling is from, I don't know, mundane things like uh, things for the office supplies to yeah some electronics to more complex solutions. Yeah, and I think some of these things can go even you set your agent to sometimes refill the supplies and yeah, maybe upgrade your notebook park, yeah, the server, uh, the servers in your company. I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe that's exaggerated somehow, but some of the things can go AI agent to AI agent. So maybe you have the chance as a good sales to train your own agents, and the smart guys could close some of these deals.
Yeah, you just get in the deal making at the time where everything is there just to make decisions and discuss options.
We all dream about agents doing work for us. I'm sure there are programmers today who dream about deploying AI and just supervising and yeah, and maybe some of this technology is possible. Yeah, why not salespeople deploying their agents, sending their agents to meet customers' agents and try to fix some deals, and you keep in the supervisor role and the added value role. On the other hand, I think there are still, if you look like you raise up a little bit, and yeah, people were saying, yeah, Google will change everything, and okay, changed a lot, complicated a lot our life, but humans still talk to humans. Yeah, today you won't get a robot and put it in charge with your toddler. Yeah, because AI, it's not sometimes hallucinate, sometimes fabulate, sometimes maybe it's taking the wrong decisions. And if you want the best for your kids, you'll make sure it's you or another human in charge. Yeah, why put your customer on a robotic process, automated, and you
Uh,
don't care? Yeah, I think this is the other thing which has to stop, and it will stop. Yeah, open your inbox. You cannot see anymore
no,
uh,
crazy.
through the fog and all the spam you get. Yeah, that's really something which I really.
Yeah, so even today, the deals, the good deals are still down to human connection. Now,
And I think they're here to stay.
and
These connections.
I'm 100% sure of that. As long as humans are the ones making business. So yeah, I'm 100% sure of that. So in that future, how I know we're not here to paint like what will happen, but how is that? How is so much technology that you have at your fingertips that makes you know everything and like everything about your prospect? How are we still going to be able to focus on maintaining human connection in sales? What do you think about that?
Well, you see the vast amount of information that is available. It's but then you also need to speed up, and you don't have that much time, and you have much more deals to do, and then it's pretty much about the help you need in selecting and analyzing that information when you need it. Yeah. So first time when we imagined and we were ideating about SalesOMO, one of the things is the heads up display of a person in sales. Yeah, like this Iron Man going with on target, meeting customers and all the information just in time there, and you could drill down. You can enter a dialogue with your agent, and drill down a little bit, or yeah, go one side or another and find some other things. So I really want to believe that humans are here to stay, and technology will augment and them, and will help them in where technology is better. But again, having some in-deep knowledge, some expertise in a field, and knowing and some experience, yeah, will really provide you the capability for you to understand if AI is giving you the right information or not, and enable you to take the decision. So I think it's a bit like with driving. Yeah, we will still need to go manual way with a gear shift, and still be better drivers after that. So not everything will change. You'll still need schools, you'll still need practice, you'll still need, okay, maybe some of the things we'll practice will change. We will not exercise so much memory, maybe. um, but yeah, who knows? I cannot claim that I. One thing I know for sure: when people will come to work, SalesOMO will be the environment in which they will get help, and will get interfaces into the other bits and pieces which will bring information to them. Yeah, they will not have to switch anymore from 20, 30 apps
What
and
what
do all the searches.
then what do you think organizations need to do now in order to be competitive and excel in sales in that future? And what do salespeople also need to do now? Like if you were to give an advice for them on what they should act and what's possible to act on, what would you recommend to us? Yeah.
I think we are coming on this wave where everybody was getting an account of yeah, OpenAI or whatever, and making some fun, generating some images, but that's not, yeah, something which is productive. Where you need the what businesses need, really need to raise productivity. And if you can close um, three more deals in a month on the top of your 10, that's really productivity. And if you can improve three more relationship with three more customers every month, that's really where AI can make a difference. And yeah, you can start first of all documenting and then experimenting, but in a more selective way. Yeah? Try to put this into practice. And I think as with the other technology, yeah, there are people who are more just technical enthusiasts, yeah, and then they will not really look at benefits, and we see a lot of them around us. But then there are people who will create this wave of adoption, which they will put this technology at work and they will get benefits.
Hmm.
And then the others, and I think we are here. Yeah, we maybe don't see it very clearly now, but I can feel it. Some expensive solutions which can make some of your salespeople make a difference. That at the end of the day, year after year, with the profits generated, your competition can outperform you. Yeah, if they do sales more efficiently. And yeah, it's not coming everywhere. It's not in the every corner. But at some point, even the customers will change and say, "Hey, Catalin, so Mihai, thank you very much, but you are not up to my expectations." Now I'm used to talk with people like Catalin who are coming here much better prepared. So you go out. If you don't deploy these technologies to read my blog and watch my latest podcast and have a nice conversation with me, then I don't feel well with you. I'd rather go and talk to
Some
another
other.
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so for SalesOMO right now, what are the criterias of the companies that can have access to this early stage, this very early very early versions of the solution, who can have the opportunity to access it right now and be part of your pilot partner if you're still open to pilot partners at the moment?
We have two motions there. Yeah? One, it's a product-led growth solution, which anybody can access today. You want to open an account after this podcast, you go open an account, you register. Okay, we will squeeze you a little bit because we have some onboarding threshold there, and we will not make it easy for you because we want to make sure that you know what an ICP is and what you target and what you don't target. Yeah.
Exactly.
So maybe it's not that easy for the regular entry level junior sales to buy it. It's not that expensive. It's accessible, but yeah, we have this threshold, and anybody who has some knowledge, medium kind of knowledge about sales, can access and make use of it quite easy. Pending that he likes and he will like many things that he will get. Then the other thing is, if you ask me where do I want to make a difference and who I can help, and who can also uh, talk to me. Obviously, being at the beginning of the life as a company, 1 year is nothing in this world. We will target companies which are not that big,
Hmm.
have some revenues, but and then ideally have a product market fit. Yeah, if they don't have a product market fit, then we will help them identify maybe some of these ICPs and run some hypotheses for them. But ideally, the companies we want to work with are the companies who have a product market fit, who know that specific which they are looking. And yes, for these kind of companies, which are not that big, they cannot go and get something expensive out there. They can come to us, and we can work out together a solution to make sure SalesOMO will exceed their expectations and really help them save some time and get more productive salespeople. Yeah. So
And I believe it's especially targeted B2B companies right now, more than B2C.
yeah, it's B2B high growth sales, and those people usually they are not into one industry, because if you sell only to, I don't know, construction of offices, you know pretty much which are the, or to accountants, or to I don't know, architects, some solutions for them. You have the hooks, yeah. But if you go outside your initial industry, you sell horizontal solutions, and today you talk to an architect, tomorrow with an accountant, tomorrow with a construction engineer. um, it's different industries, different challenges. And then it's also people who are going usually outside their territory. It's not within a 2 hours drive.
Hmm.
It's usually in a wider area, even in different countries, where yeah, because you also have a pressure. They are not the people who are selling these multi-million-dollar projects and have all the time in the world.
Hmm. Hmm.
Usually they sell solution in a competitive environment, and they need to be more productive and decrease the sales cycle and accelerate some of this if they can, or be more effective and close, reduce the rejection rate, because you add value, you show your customer that you are prepared. So these kind of guys, yeah, I would say high growth sales, meeting 50 new people every month, and you are under pressure, you forget things because you have always 30, 40, 50 opportunities open in your pipeline.
Hmm.
This is how we select them. And when I talk to these guys, none of them say, Mihai, I don't need SalesOMO. Thank you. I already have something in place. Said, yeah, but this thing I do is something with a solution. This other thing I have a CRM, but yeah, I cannot really find. And then I do this with some mailer, and I do this with that. And oh, okay.
It's the ones that need to stay sharp because they are having the opportunities come in, but they need to stay sharp to make the most out of them. And in an era full of information and opportunities, you need to make sure what you focus on.
And some of these guys, I'm quite sure, and I'm looking already at some of my customers will grow. because some of these guys which manage to find the solutions to stay sharp will grow, and my strategy is to go together with them. Yeah, in a few years from now on, we'll be a much different company, and some of our customers will really be big, and we'll develop together with them. That's another thing.
So thank you, Mihai. I don't want to take more of your time because we're already past the limit. Thank you very much for taking the time to have this conversation with me today. Uh, I've I've learned now what the future of sales looks like, and I'm looking forward to my AI agent that is able to, like point me in the right direction as soon as possible. In the meantime, I'm looking forward to the next time.
We can certainly make a note here, and I will contact you.
That's perfect. That's perfect.
If
Thank
you
you.
are under those pressures, you qualify. You know what you are looking for, I'm quite sure.
I definitely am, and it's harder and harder in this area full of noise. So thank you again for taking the time, and I'm looking forward to the next time that we have a conversation on what's the next step in SalesOMO and in sales overall.
Thank you for challenging me and for inviting me. I really enjoyed the conversation and how we could picture the some of the future together. Yeah,
Always,
I
always
appreciate it.
happy to do that together. Thank you, thank you. So I hope you know what direction you need to move in when it comes to sales and what you need to start acting on based on our conversation with Mihai today. Thank you again for tuning in, and let us know who else you want us to discuss with about a day in the future in the next episodes. Follow us on Instagram and tune in on Spotify, YouTube, all that. Talk soon and happy holidays.